Hello, dear friends, how are you? It is said that balance and moderation. So, these are the most powerful and the most beautiful at the same time words of any language. Balance and moderation. It is good to be cooperative with other people. That is really good. That is really important. But at the same time, taking care of yourself and safeguarding your own interests, it is not any way lesser important at all. And that is what nowadays it is called setting boundaries. Setting boundaries. It is very important indeed that to some extent we are cooperative, to some extent we are lenient, to some extent we are complying with the demands of other people. But if at all we don't know where the line should be drawn, what boundaries to set, the life becomes chaotic and the people start manipulating us, cheating us, doing the hell with our lives. Setting boundaries is very important, very much important indeed. Not only setting the boundaries, enforcing these boundaries, not allowing anybody to overstep it, and keeping in view the importance of the topic, we have decided to articulate it. There are four important reasons why it is very important indeed to set the boundaries, to maintain the boundaries, to assert for your boundaries. The first such thing is maintaining healthy relationships. Once we want any of the relationship to stay healthy, then the boundary setting is very important. Otherwise, our relationships will become unhealthy. Our relationships will become toxic. Number two, it is respect. What is this? This is respect. Boundaries show self respect and teach others to respect you as well. For the purpose of maintaining healthy relationships, boundary setting is very important, and there are three reasons. Number one is respect. Boundaries show self respect and teach others to respect you as well. Number two, trust. Clear boundaries foster trust and prevent misunderstanding. Clear boundaries foster trust and prevent misunderstanding. Number three, communication. Boundaries promote Open and honest communication. Boundaries promote open and honest communication. So these are the three reasons, the three ways to maintain healthy relationships: by setting boundaries, by making the people comply the boundaries. Number 2, it is protecting mental and emotional well-being. It is protecting, protecting mental and emotional well-being. Protecting mental and emotional well-being. So there are three ways. Number 1, prevents overcommitting. Prevents overcommitting. Say no. Helps avoid excessive responsibilities. Saying no helps avoid excessive responsibilities. Number 2, reduces stress and anxiety. It reduces stress and it reduces anxiety as well. Clear boundaries minimize emotional overload. Clear boundaries minimize emotional overload. Number 3, preserves energy. Boundaries help conserve mental and emotional energy. Boundaries help conserve mental and emotional energy. So we spoke about maintaining healthy relationships. Boundaries are very important, and there are three reasons. Then we spoke about protecting mental and emotional well-being. Again, we spoke about the 3 points. Now we are going to talk about practicing self-care and empowerment. Practicing self-care and empowerment. Number 1, self-awareness. Setting boundaries requires understanding your needs and your limits as well. Setting away self-awareness, setting boundaries requires understanding your needs and your limits as well. Number 2, it is assertiveness. Enforcing boundaries build confidence and build self-assertion as well. Enforcing boundaries build confidence and build self-assertion as well. Number 3, autonomy. Practicing say no. Practicing say no reinforces your right to make choices and to make decisions as well. Now, setting boundaries and saying no is very important. Why? Simple tips to practice saying no. There are very simple tips to practice saying no, and these tips are four in number. Number 1, it is start small. Begin with the low stakes situations like declining an invitation. Start small. Begin with the low stakes in situations like declining an invitation. Number 2, be direct and clear. Use a firm and polite tone when saying no. Use a firm but polite tone when saying no. Number 3, avoid explanations or justifications. You don't owe anyone any explanation at all for your choices, because making the choices, making the decisions, it is your prerogative. You don't need to explain it. Number 4, offer alternatives, but this is optional. If you want to maintain relationships, you know, if you suggest alternative solutions, that is very important, and these are the simple tips to practice saying no. Now let's have a very quick revision about why it is so important to set the boundaries, why it is so important to enforce the boundaries, why it is so important to practice saying no. First of all, it is very important because it does help maintain healthy relationships. How does it maintain help? How does it help maintain healthy relationships? There are three reasons. Number one, respect. Boundaries show self-respect and teach others to respect you. Number two, trust. Clear boundaries foster trust and prevent misunderstanding. Number three, communication. Boundaries promote open and honest communication. So these in three ways why maintaining healthy relationship demand setting the boundaries, demand enforcing the boundaries, demand saying no. Number two, the next step, that is practice mental and emotional well-being, protecting mental and emotional well-being. It does help us a lot in protecting and protecting mental and emotional well-being. How? There are three ways. Number one, it prevent overcommitting by saying no. Number two, reduces stress and anxiety. Clear boundaries minimize emotional overload. Number three, preserves energy. Boundaries help conserve mental and emotional energy. So that is how practicing that is how setting boundaries, enforcing boundaries, and learning to say no. Practice protecting mental and emotional well-being. Number three, the third step, it is practicing self-care and empowerment. How? There are three ways. Number one, self awareness, that is setting boundaries require understanding your needs and your limits at the same time. Number two, assertiveness, it is enforcing boundaries, build confidence and build self assertion. Number three, autonomy, practice saying no, practicing say no reinforces your right to make choices and to take decisions as well. So it helps us a lot actually in maintaining the healthy relationships. It helps us a lot actually in protecting mental and emotional well-being. It helps us a lot actually in practicing self-care and practicing self-empowerment. Now lastly, there are simple tips for practicing no, and these are four simple tips. Number one, start small. Begin with the low stakes situations like declining an invitation. Number two, be direct and clear. Use a firm but polite tone when saying no. Using a firm but polite tone in saying no. Number three, avoid explanations or justifications. You don't owe anyone any explanation for your choices. Number four, offer alternatives, that is optional. If you want to maintain a relationship, suggest alternative solutions. Now, please remember, setting boundaries and practicing say no. It's an act of self love and it is an act of self respect as well. So that is all from me today. Thank you.